Hello there and welcome to Soteria. Today in this video, we're going to be doing something that I've wanted to do for a long time, which is we're going to make a camouflage tier list as it pertains to the prepared citizen, the Minuteman, whatever. Now in this video, we're actually gonna make 3 tier lists, and I put the chapters on this video so you can skip to the one that you care about the most. First, we're going to rank all these camo patterns just purely based on what's the best for the prepared citizen, the Minuteman, based on stuff like availability, effectiveness, cost, everything put together, okay? Then we're going to rank them based on just the most effective patterns, of course, in my opinion, and this is gonna be for mainly the Midwest, green environments, and transitional environments. Then lastly, we're gonna just have fun with it and we're gonna rank them based off of drip. Which ones are the most aesthetically pleasing or which ones are my favorites. So stick around, we're gonna have a lot of fun. Let's get straight into it. All right, so first up, we have a classic. You can't go wrong with civilian clothes, with flannel and jeans, with a Carhartt hoodie. Whatever clothing is used the most in your environment, that is going to be probably the best camouflage that you could even pick, is just regular clothes, okay? I know it's boring, I know it's not a cool camo pattern, but it is just works, and it's probably something you should have, which is clothes. You should have regular clothes. If all of your clothes are camouflage based, no. If all of your clothes are camouflage, then you have a problem and you're certainly not blending in or fooling anybody. So we'll put flannel in S tier. Before we get into the meat of the video though and all the fun, I have a couple things I want to say. My own merch, my t-shirt designs, which I created myself for myself because I was looking for some designs that work super loud, like these grunt style 511 designs. And then I decided to make it available for other people to purchase if you so desire and you want to support the channel in that way. And the next thing, of course, is we are working on a film this year, so I highly suggest that you subscribe and you stick around because we have some very fun, exciting things coming and you don't want to miss it. Next, we've got multicam. Now, multicam, you know, it is very effective in a lot of environments. Unfortunately, it just isn't very good for identifying your guys because anybody could be wearing multicam. So, you know, as far as that goes, we're ranking effectiveness. It's usually a little bit more expensive. It's very easy to get, but if you're just working with only your top patterns, your bottom patterns, and your gear could be whatever, right? Your gear could be whatever color, and you're just getting a uniform set for guys, then, you know, it's like, yes, it's good, but also there's a lot of other cheap options. So just for the fact that it doesn't stand out at all, it doesn't make you look different, and it's impossible to tell from a distance if that's your dude or not. That's a hard one, actually. I'll give it B tier, just because it's everywhere. So it's like, how are you supposed to use that as an identifier? You really can't. Next, we have MTP, British MTP, which is basically the same thing. It is just as effective, I'd say, as multicam. It's slightly more green in it. It's a little bit less contrasty, I think. However, I'm gonna put it down to C tier just because effectiveness, it's the same, but the clothing it comes in, I think the British issue stuff is terrible. The stitching seems way worse than like anything else the US made. So just, you know, it's good, it's cheap, it's okay, but the quality is not the best, and the fit is kind of weird too and some stuff. I'd say get it if you're on extreme budget, but also like you can get used OCP stuff from the Army for not much at all. So all right, so speaking of OCP, we have the US Army, which is their multicam. You know, as far as cost, I'll put it right up there with multicam. It's cheaper usually to get than multicam because it's surplus. However, it isn't as effective. It's a little bit more washed out, a little bit less contrasty. And again, it has the same problem as multicam, which is like everybody has it. So how are you supposed to tell anybody apart? So I'll put it there. You know, it's cheaper, but it's also marginally less effective. You know, maybe because it's cheaper, I should bump it up actually. I don't know. We'll leave it in A tier for now, just because it's cheaper. All right, so next we have multicam arid. So multicam arid is a little harder to find, a little bit more expensive. However, if you live in a desert environment or an arid environment or any place more mountainous or something like that, it is really good. However, it's not that much different than regular multicam. So you are kind of spending more for, very often you're spending more because it's just less common. And I think it's discontinued now also. So you're spending more for like not really getting any much different. It's just, and it's less effective when there is green stuff around. So it's super cool, and I have a top in it that I wear in the winter sometimes, but I'd say it's gonna probably go to C tier just because regular multicam is just as good in arid environments pretty much, and it's easier to get. From a distance, you really can't tell it apart from multicam anyway, so who cares? Okay, multicam tropic. One of my favorites, probably my favorite camouflage pattern ever. Just aesthetics wise, and it is actually very effective in green forested environments, especially here in the Midwest. People hate on it. They think that it's because it's named tropic that it's only effective in the tropics, and that's not true at all. When you actually see it in person, it's not nearly as saturated green as it looks on the internet. So touching grass is cool, and seeing things in real life is really cool. Most people have never seen it in real life, so they just hate on it. Also, when you wear it, it lightens up in the sun, it fades, so that's a plus too. It does get a little dark and it does silhouette you a little bit, which is what darker patterns tend to do. So it's not as effective as multicam in most environments, but I'm gonna put it in B tier just because it's effective. It's a little bit more expensive, sometimes harder to find, but the one benefit that it has is it's good for identification. It makes you stand out, makes you look different than everybody else. You see someone in multicam tropic, you're like, okay, that's my guy. You know, I know that that's not whatever, you know, if someone's wearing multicam, you have no idea who they are until you can see their face really close up. So multicam black, as far as for like the prepared citizen or a Minuteman, okay, it's cool, I'll give you that, but like it's kind of expensive and it's really not useful for anything except just buying something that would be used in like an urban environment, or that you don't care what pattern it is and you want to get a pattern instead of just getting like a Ranger green or gray or black or something. So as far as for the prepared citizen, I'm gonna put it in E tier. You can get away with like a fanny pack or something in this color, or a backpack maybe, and wearing it around town and no one's gonna care. So maybe it's useful there, but at the same time, like for prepared citizen goals, it's gonna be just better to just have a solid color. Either wear camouflage or a solid color. But it does look cool. So I won't give it an F tier because I'll reserve F tier for like the worst of the worst. Okay, AOR1. Now, AOR1 is easy to find. You can get it surplus in a lot of different stuff because it was issued to the Navy, still is. It's a very effective pattern in a lot of Midwestern and forested, in transitional environments even. It also lightens in the sun too. It's lighter than multicam tropic, so you're not gonna silhouette as bad. It's really effective. And it looks cool. Now, the downside is I feel like airsofters kind of ruined these because everyone wants to dress up as like a Navy SEAL. But setting that cringe aside, you know, it is a great pattern. It's easy to outfit all of your guys with because it's very cheap. Well, I won't say it's super cheap, but it's definitely affordable on the surplus and used market. You know, I'm gonna actually have to bump it up above multicam tropic, which really hurts me, but I'm gonna put that in A tier, and actually I might get bumped up to S tier. We'll see what happens. Okay, so AOR1, I don't know if I said that was AOR2 or AOR1, is also amazing if you live in a desert environment. I don't, so it's not very useful to me unless I'm wearing something like that in the winter. I don't really currently own anything in it, but I do want to get some stuff. So if you live in an arid environment or a mountainous environment or something like that, I'll say it's A tier. Why not? Okay, Marpat. Marpat's great. It's pretty effective, especially in like anywhere M81 would be effective. It'll be very effective also. It's not really common in terms of like, you know, maybe Bubba in the Woods, some guy, or like some ex-Marine might wear it around town, but it's really not very common compared to multicam. So it's pretty affordable. It can be a little hard to get some things in it, but if you get surplus, it's not a bad option. You know, I'm gonna put it is really good. Okay, we'll leave it in A tier just for now, but it's probably gonna get bumped down to B tier. Okay, so then we got the desert version of that, which is Desert Marpat. It's also really good. Okay, it's really cheap too. I'll leave it in A tier if you are, you know, in that type of environment. Okay, so UCP, which we know everyone knows is the best camouflage pattern. The most effective, the cheapest, and it's great for personal identification. Okay, so I'm kind of memeing here, but actually this is really good because you can dye it. So If you are actually genuinely need a camouflage pattern to like blend in with concrete and gravel, it does very well. However, like that's kind of a useless thing and not really a thing that you need. Usually you'd wear no camouflage, just civilian clothes, or you would wear camouflage patterns such as multicam that would help you blend in all over the place. So it's kind of not really useful there. Controversially, I think it does actually kind of look cool, but if you dye it with RIT dye, it can be had, or people even give it away. You can get a lot of really good surplus clothing, jackets, bivvies, all kinds of stuff in UCP. And so UCP is actually a great option for the prepared citizen, especially because you can get a whole bunch of it for nothing. You can dye it to the exact color tint of green or brown or whatever that you want. Now all your guys look kind of the same and you look very different from everyone else, and you are all armed and staying concealed on the cheap. So UCP is actually a great option. I don't know if I could put it in S tier, honestly. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna have to like move some stuff up to S tier, but we got to get farther along. Okay, so now we have the Air Force digital tiger stripe called ABU, and it's terrible. It's disgusting to look at. You can get it pretty cheap on the surplus market. However, you know, it doesn't do well for anything. But I have seen some people dye it, and when you dye it the right shade of color, specifically RIT apple green, it looks actually pretty good, and it's actually pretty effective. I can't bring myself to put that higher. You know, so I don't know where to put this. I guess I'll put this on C tier. My list is getting a little bit cluttered. I'm gonna have to move some stuff around, move some stuff up to S tier. All right, so next we have M81, which everyone's favorite. You know, they call it God's plaid. I don't know if that's blasphemous or not, but you know, I'm gonna put it in S tier just because it's everywhere, it's easy to get, it's the people's camo. Now, it's not the most effective at distance. It has some blobbing problems. It's not the most effective in like say transitional or lighter environments, but just because it's very easy to get, and it's not used by any current military people, except some MARSOC guys, but when are you gonna ever run into those guys? It's a great camo pattern. Great, just amazing. So then we have like kind of the precursor to M81, or one of the variants that was being worked on, which is ERDL green. ERDL green is amazing, but it's also very rare and difficult to get. There are some on eBay, and there's some reproductions being worked on, I think, but I'm gonna have to move this down just because it's very effective, but as far as availability, it's not going to be great, and at distance you're really not going to be able to tell the difference between that and M81, so I'm going to move this down to D tier. Okay, so this is French CCE, I believe, and I really hate this. I think it looks like a way worse M81. A lot of people swear by it. It's also, I think, a little bit expensive, so I'm honestly going to put this down in, I'll put it in D tier for now, but it might get moved. Okay, we have British DPM, which is very easy to find on the surplus market, not super expensive, but it's kind of rough. It's not as effective, in my opinion, as M81. A lot of people love it, but let's be honest, they think they love it more for like the vibes and the, you know, the British supremacy and all that stuff. So, you know, it's not as good as people want to believe. M81 is definitely better, so because it's a little bit affordable, I'm gonna put it right here. So next up we have Desert DPM. Desert DPM looks really awesome. It's actually, I think, pretty affordable too, and it's really good in a desert environment, or even the winter. I've seen a lot of guys run it in the winter with good success. I'm gonna bump that up to B tier or A tier. I'll just put it in B tier for now. All right, chocolate chip. Chocolate chip is very easy to get. However, it's not the greatest desert pattern in my opinion. A lot of people like it for the vibes. However, I don't think it's as effective as people want it to say that it is. So let's move this down to C tier just because it's affordable. All right, DCU, or Tricolor Desert. I love this pattern. It's very cheap and easy to get. Very effective in a desert environment. If you're in a desert environment, let's put it in A tier just because of how affordable it is. Okay, we have DNC Desert Night Camo. Now, this is awesome for like, actually, it's not a bad camouflage at all. People hate on it. It does pretty good. I've done some tests. It does pretty good in a lot of environments, except for the greenest of greens. So if you're in a very green, lush environment, it's gonna suffer a little bit. It's gonna stand out a little bit. It's kind of like Ranger green, but with a little bit of detail. So it's also harder to get though, and a little expensive. So let's put it in C tier. All right, Tiger Stripe. Now, Tiger Stripe is, I think, not too hard to get a hold of. There's a lot of reproductions of it, different variants of it. It looks cool. It definitely makes you stand out. Compared to someone wearing multicam, you are, you know what I mean? It's good for identification. However, it doesn't do the best, and from what I've seen in just looking at it and stuff in the woods, because there's so much black, you kind of stand out a little bit. So depending on how you use it in the environment, it can work, but it's not going to be my first choice just because of all the black in there. So should we put it in C tier, I suppose? Yeah, we'll put it in C tier. Desert Tiger Stripe. I actually like Desert Tiger Stripe a lot more than regular Tiger Stripe, but you know, it's all right. I'm not sure. Let's put it in B tier. Let's put it in B tier. All right, Rhodesian Brushstroke. Now, I don't have anything in this, and I don't know how hard or expensive it is. I would assume it's a little bit more rare, and it's not the most effective. People like it for vibes, but as far as like outfitting all your guys with it, I'd say it's not a great choice. So I'm gonna move it down to D tier. All right, so this old Soviet pattern, KMLK or whatever they call it, you know, it's not very effective. It's cool, it's cool, but it's also harder to get to. So I'm gonna put it down in E tier, just because it's not the worst pattern in the world, but well, it is kind of bad, but it looks cool for sure. But you're not gonna have a full team of guys wearing that. That's just now if you do, send me a picture, I guess. Congrats, you know, but it's not going to be your first choice for sure. All right, this is Russian Flora. This one is a pretty effective pattern, but you know, it's not as easy to get. You know, it's not super effective. It's just like, okay, it's an overseas pattern. It's a little bit more rare. You're not going to outfit a bunch of guys in it. So let's put it into D tier. Now, the Russian Mountain Flora, or the orange version, is actually really awesome in the autumn. I love this thing, but it's not the easiest to get, a little expensive. Again, it kind of runs the supply chain thing. It's not a domestic pattern, so not the best for your team of Minuteman. And it's also only effective for a very short part of the year, in my opinion. So we'll put it in D tier. ATAX FG. Now, people think of this as being a Russian or Ukrainian pattern, but actually it's an American pattern. It's a very based American patriotic pattern designed here domestically, which is discontinued, and it was sold to, I think some of the licenses were sold to Russia or something like that. I don't know. Or they also recreate it. There's Chinese versions of it. There's lots of Russians that wear it, different units, and they're wearing it in Ukraine also. It's a really, really effective pattern for transitional environments, and you can get Chinese copies of it. You can get it used on eBay, not common at all for people to use. So I'm gonna put it in A tier, I think. A tier? Yes, let's put it in A tier. Okay, ATAX AU, which is the arid version of that. It's pretty good, it's pretty effective. Hard to find though, so I don't know. Let's put it in C tier, just because I feel like there's a lot of other patterns you choose before that. ATAX IX, or the newer version of ATAX, you know, it's a good pattern, but it's harder to find. It's kind of expensive. I don't know. Let's put it in C tier. ATAX FGX, which is the green version of it. It's actually worse, I think, than like Multicam Tropic even. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of right up there with Multicam Tropic in terms of effectiveness, but it's also gonna be harder to find. So we'll put it in C tier also. All right, AUX, ATAX AUX is the arid version of that. It's a good pattern, but like if you want something that looks like that, just buy some hunting camo, and it's gonna be basically the same thing. So it's hard to find, So this one is near unobtainium, which is ATAX Yukon. I think I don't know if it's discontinued or not, but it was supposed to be like a multicam competitor, but it just didn't catch on. It's actually very effective, you know, just as effective as multicam, but it's just impossible to find. So, okay, maybe we'll move it up, because if you can find it, then for a decent price somewhere by some miracle, then you're going to be effective, but also and stand out. But it's also not going to be much more different than multicam, so it's just like use multicam if you need that. So Dutch NFP is amazing, very, very effective. It's a lot like Flecktarn, but the shapes are a little different, the colors are a little different. There's 3 variants of Dutch NFP. However, it's extremely difficult for us to get this. It is very new, and there's not much on the used market. If you want some, you're probably gonna have to find someone over there to ship it to you. So I'm gonna put it in D tier. It's very effective, but almost impossible to find. All right, next up we have Splitter Tarn. Now it's a cool pattern historically and such, but it doesn't super effective and very hard to find. There's some reproductions of it, but really for our purposes, it's really not relevant at all. All right, next up we have M90. Now M90 is a cool camo pattern, but it's just, you know, it's not the most effective, and it's a European, so it's a little harder to find. Just not the best for what we're trying to do. So I don't know, I'll put it down in D tier. All right, now we have Swiss Alpenflage. Now Alpenflage is a very, very cool pattern. Great in the autumn. However, you know, beyond that, it's not really going to be very effective. You can get it used for a pretty decent price on eBay, but I don't think you're going to pick this as your pattern for your group. All right, now we have Jigsaw. Now Jigsaw is kind of rough. People like it for just because it's different, I guess. I don't know why people like it. I think it's kind of ugly, not super effective, and just not useful. So I don't know. I'm gonna put it in E tier. I'm gonna get hate for that, but. All right, so I think this is supposed to be Danish M84, and I love this. This is great. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's a little harder to get to, but it's a little more effective than some of the other patterns, so I think we could bump it up to C tier. Now, I think this one's supposed to be CADPAT. CADPAT has a cult following, and I don't know, I'm not really familiar with how difficult it is to get or what the prices are, but I'm just gonna say D tier because it's, you know, it's not domestic, so. All right, so now we got Flecktarn. Flecktarn is from Germany. It's actually very available on the surplus market, much more than some of the other patterns from Europe. And it's pretty effective in a lot of areas, especially the Midwest, wooded areas. I do think it errs a little bit on the dark side. They do have a new version called Multi-Tarn, but I don't think that's very easy to get a hold of just because it's a pretty recent release. So there's not much surplus or really anywhere on the civilian market. So, man, that's a little difficult. I don't know where to put this one. That's a hard one. I think I'm gonna give it a B tier just because it is effective and it is somewhat affordable. However, it does err a little bit dark, and I think there's a lot of browns in it. So depending on your area, it could be really amazing, but it's not as ubiquitous for a lot of different areas. So B tier it is for Flecktarn. Now we have the desert variant of that, which honestly I forget what this is called. I think it's called Troppentarn. It's an awesome camouflage pattern. I think I'll give it a B tier, but you know, it's not relevant for me because I live in Wisconsin. All right, so now we have MO5. Now MO5 is one of the best European camouflage patterns in my opinion, but it suffers from some of the other same things as a lot of the European ones do, which is less available, not as easy to get quickly. So, you know, it's very difficult. I think I'm gonna put it in B tier. For me, Multicam Tropic, Flecktarn, and MO5 are similar camo patterns in the sense that they're very good in wooded areas. They're a little bit dark. They're a bit different, you know, they give you better identification than someone just wearing multicam or something. So I highly recommend those patterns. However, they can be a little bit dark and depending on where you are. So for me, you know, I can wear Multicam Tropic for at least half the year and be fine. But, you know, for most of you, you're probably gonna want something a little bit lighter. All right, this one is Con Camo, I think. Now, Con Camo is a civilian German pattern that is not actually very easy to get a hold of. The only thing that you can get pretty easily, I think, is their Ghost Hood, which is kind of like this very lightweight Viper hood that you put on. It's awesome, but I don't know if they're making them anymore. I don't know what's going on with that. But I've heard that the pattern itself does very well in a lot of different environments. So I'm not sure where to put this. I think it's very difficult to find uniforms made in it. It's a little bit newer, maybe C tier. I'm gonna say C tier or con camo. The other benefit of con camo is that it's not used by any militaries to my knowledge. So you have that benefit of wearing something and not being ever, mistaken as some force, right? Okay, now we have Norwegian camo. Now this is the old version, the larger blocks, the larger blobs, and this is an awesome camouflage pattern. It's kind of like a Flecktarn and M81 had a baby. I don't know how to describe it, but it's great. And I'm honestly not sure where to put it. It's a little expensive, I think, but I think I'll put it in B tier, just because it's very effective. I love it. It's just great. But like all the other European ones, it's a little bit harder to get a hold of, but I have seen it on Americana Pipe Dream Apparel. Shout out another Wisconsin company. And I think Venture Surplus maybe, and eBay. So you can find it. But we also have the new Norwegian camo pattern, which I love Scandinavia. We love Norway. I am also Norwegian myself. And the unfortunate part about this is it is better than the older pattern. It is very effective. It's kind of like a recolored Flecktarn. So it's amazing camo pattern. It's very effective. And it looks really, really cool. The unfortunate part is it's almost impossible to get because Norway doesn't let you, they're all exclusive suppliers and everything. So it's very difficult for a civilian to get unless they get it on a surplus market, but because it's so new, again, you're not gonna find it. So as far as it goes for people like us, you're just not gonna find it. I gotta put it in E tier. Not because it's not effective. Honestly, it's probably almost an S tier camouflage, in my opinion. Maybe in 10 years or so, we'll be able to get it pretty easily, but just not for now. All right, now we have Russian EMR, whatever it's called. This is their Radnik uniform. It's the most common uniform you see Russian soldiers wearing now. I'm gonna say steer clear of this. It's probably not the best idea to try to walk around looking exactly like a Russian. It's also, a little harder to get a hold of. Not super expensive, I don't think. Unless you're in the Milsim game, if you go to do these airsofting events, then have fun. But as far as like you and your friends getting together and try to recognize each other by wearing the same camouflage pattern and blend in, it's not the choice. And it's also a little bit dark. Suffers from, multicam tropic syndrome, which is silhouetting. So I'm gonna move it down to E tier just because you probably don't want to rock around in America or the apocalypse looking like a Russian. I don't hate Russians. I don't hate anybody really, but just it's not the best. Unless you're on the airsoft field, then have fun with that. Okay, now we have Cryptek. I know some guys who absolutely love Cryptek. Honestly, I think it's ugly. Flame me in the comments, whatever. I do think Cryptek is ugly. The benefit, of course, is that it's not used by any militaries. And I hear it's effective. I'm sure it'd be very effective. There's a couple of variations. I think there's a lot of variations of it. It's also very cheap and affordable. And it's also domestically produced. So actually, when it comes to like, all of the factors we've been talking about, it actually scores very, very high. I have to rate it high. I have to because it's cheap, it's domestically produced, nobody wears it except Bubba and his Uncle Bob, when they're out hunting, and it works. So I guess I'm gonna put it in A tier even though I hate it. Okay, so we have this Croatian camo pattern. Just skip it. Just skip it. It's another European thing. We have U4CES, or however the heck you say that. And this is an interesting pattern because it was actually developed for the military, the US military, but they rejected it. I forget the whole story behind that, but it's actually used by Mexican Marines, I believe. Unfortunately, I think it's kind of rare also. Don't quote me on that though, but it's actually a very interesting pattern, pretty effective, but a little hard to get a hold of from what I hear. So I'm gonna put that in D tier also. Actually, let's bump that up to C tier because it is domestically produced. If you can find it, it is effective and it looks very different. So we have Latpat, the lovely Latpat. Latpat from Latvia is gonna get a D tier just with all the other European camos that are a little too hard to find. All right, this is HunCam, or Hungarian multicam. It's great, it's just basically multicam, but just skip it, get regular multicam or OCP or something, because it's just too hard to find. Okay, so we have the Italian camouflage. I think it's called Vegetato or something like that. Just skip it, just skip it. It's gonna go in D tier. Honestly, I should move all of these rare camo patterns down even farther than that, but we'll just leave them in D tier. All right, I think this is like the Polish version of M81. I'm gonna throw it in D tier also. Okay, this is called Slow Cam, and Slow Cam is like multicam, but way better in my opinion. It's a little darker, it got a little more greens in it. Unfortunately, it is a little hard to find on the used market, but you can find it on eBay for a decent price. But it's so good, it's so effective. So I have to move it up farther, even though it's harder to get. I'm gonna put it in B tier because it can mix with multicam gear very well, but it also looks different than multicam. Very effective, especially if you live in a greener environment than like say a multicam in a grassland or something. So Slow Cam, Slovenia multicam is amazing. It's one of the best camouflage patterns ever created in my opinion, but you know, it is a little difficult to find. So we have to put it in B tier, even though I want to give it an S tier. All right, so now we have Greek Lizard, and I'm gonna get hate for this. I don't really like it. I don't really think it's very effective. Maybe in like a swamp, I guess, in some grass areas, it's probably effective, it's fine, but it's not a very modern camouflage pattern in terms of its design, and I don't know exactly how much it costs, but I'm gonna throw it in with the rest of the other European ones in D tier. Again, most of these, it's not because they're terrible at being a camouflage pattern, it's just for our purposes, it's a little bit hard to get a hold of. Now we have everyone's favorite, which is T-Block. Now T-Block is an experimental urban pattern, and it looks interesting, it's kind of cool, but it's impossible to get. I don't know if there's any reproductions of it, maybe there is now, and it's also like just essentially concrete, so for most of us it's not going to be what you want. Just wear civilian clothes if you're around concrete, or wear a camouflage pattern. So honestly, you know, it's cool, but it's going to go in F tier. Okay, now we have the old Soviet floras. I believe that's what they're called. Here's the regular flora. I think you can actually get these used for a decent price. I'm not sure where to put these, honestly. I'm gonna put them both in D tier. So the orange one's actually my favorite, the mountain flora. And I love this camouflage pattern. I think it's really cool, especially in the fall. It's really only effective in the fall. But like for the same reason as Alpenflage, it's just like not, you know, it's something cool to have in the closet, but like you're not gonna be wearing that all year round. Okay, this is Albanian's camouflage. Again, I don't know, just D tier. It's just not worth it. Don't even try. Now we got Austria's camouflage. I don't even know how to say this one, but just don't get it. Don't get it. It's gonna be hard to find, I'm sure, and it's ugly. Okay, now we have Estonia's camouflage, EST-DCU, and again, it's just gonna go with the rest of the other European camouflage patterns. Okay, now it's time to do some final sorting. Let's see here. Okay, so we have an S tier, we have M81. I feel like you need to bump something else up there. Honestly, I'm gonna say AOR2 needs to get bumped up to there into S tier. It's not too hard to get, domestically produced. It looks great, effective in a lot of environments, mainly the green ones, but it's very good. Marpat, I'm not gonna put in S tier, just simply because it's a little bit harder to get than AOR2, and I don't think it's quite as effective. It's a little bit darker and a little bit more brown. So we'll leave that in A tier. Great choice, but I'm gonna say AOR2 gets a slight edge up. ATAX FG, I very much want to put up to S tier. However, it's a little bit difficult to find sometimes compared to M81 and AOR2. So because it's a little bit harder to find, and you know, you can get the Chinese copies and you can get used on eBay, and it's a great camouflage pattern, but I just can't put it in S tier because of the availability. Now, these desert camouflage patterns are basically, I would call them, you know, I would call Tricolor Desert essentially the desert version of M81, and then you've got AOR1. For obvious reasons, those are both great camouflage patterns too, also very easy to get. So I'm gonna put those up in S tier. And I think this list is pretty finalized. Let me move a few things down into F tier, which is absolute worst of the worst. All right, I'm gonna make a few adjustments. I'm gonna move the Norwegian camouflage pattern, the old version, up into A tier. I'm gonna move slow cam up into A tier also. I'm gonna move MO5 up into A tier. And I'm gonna move Flecktarn up into A tier also. I'm gonna move DNC up into B tier. And multicam, I'm very much tempted to move it up into A tier. However, just because of how common it is for people to run around wearing that, I'm gonna have to say that it's gonna have to stay in B tier. It doesn't mean it's bad at all, but it's just like, sometimes you want something that is more rare. But I guess you could say the same thing for M81, so I'm not sure what to say. All right, there we go. This is my list for the best Minuteman prepared citizen group camouflage patterns, in my opinion. In S tier, we have M81 Tricolor Desert, and we also have AOR1 and AOR2. So there you have it. Those are my recommendations. And if this is all that you came to the video for, then thanks for watching. But if you want to stick around, I'm going to quickly rank them all based on effectiveness, and then I'm going to wipe it off and I'm going to rank them based on aesthetics, which ones look the best. All right. Okay, now it is time to rank these patterns based on effectiveness only. We're forgetting cost and all this other stuff. Now, here's a quick disclaimer, and that is, I have not seen all of these patterns in real life. I have not used and tested all these patterns in real life. I'd say maybe a quarter to a third of them that I have used, tested, or seen in some capacity. The rest of them, I'm just going based off of photos I've seen on the internet of it in different environments, stuff like that. So this is purely just my opinion. But that being said, let's get straight into it. So our beloved Marpat. Marpat, I'm going to put in A tier for now. The reason being, it's a little dark, a little brown. It is a good pattern, but it's not the best. Which actually leads me to its better cousin, AOR2, which I am going to put straight up in S tier. Probably one of the best camouflage patterns ever created for obvious reasons. It does great in a lot of environments. It's not too dark. Very, very effective. Now, DNC Desert Night Camo, it can be effective depending on how you use it, the time of year, or what you're doing, but mainly it's just for drip. So honestly, we're gonna have to put this in D tier. Just because it's not ugly, it can be used for things. No, E tier. E tier. Okay, ERDL Green. Now, this is a really good camouflage pattern. Very effective, better than M81 in my opinion, so we're gonna put this in A tier. Multicam. Everyone knows multicam is very effective. Now, you might hate multicam, and that is completely valid. I don't really like it myself that whole lot, but it is very effective. If every government and their mom adapting it isn't a good signal that it does well, then I don't know what to tell you. Great pattern, does super well, so it's gonna have to go in S tier. Just does great in so many different environments. It's a good brightness and a good color mix. Okay, Russian Flora, let's put this in, I don't know how to put this. I guess I'll put it in D tier. I have not seen this one in real life. I'd imagine it does okay, but it is a very old pattern and outdated. AOR1 is an S tier camo as far as desert camos go. I think it's probably the best. So it goes up there. Multicam Tropic. Now, Multicam Tropic is probably my favorite camouflage pattern, but it's a little dark sometimes, and it's only useful in very green environments. So if you not so much of a transitional camouflage pattern, so it's gonna go in A tier for me. If you wear it, it'll brighten up a little bit from the sun, it'll fade, you wash it and all that, but it's gotta go in A tier. Unfortunately, it's not S tier. Cryptek. Now, okay, Cryptek is effective. I think there's a bunch of variants of it, but I don't know, I just feel like you could pick better. I'm put it in C tier. French CCE is essentially a worse M81. Probably offending people with this, but I don't care. I'm going to put this in D tier. M90 is just like, why? People think it looks cool, great, but it's just not, it's not the best in terms of effectiveness. I'll put it in D tier just because it's, has a decent color palette, I guess, but it does look cool. It looks cool, okay? But you could choose better in terms of effectiveness. So we'll just throw it in D tier. Yeah. Okay, I'll bump it up to C tier. I would rather have that than French CCE. MO5 is one of the best camouflage patterns ever created. However, it suffers from multicam tropic syndrome, which is it's a little bit too dark. It's an amazing pattern, just a little bit too dark. That's the only reason it's not in S tier. Now multi-tarn. Multi-tarn is an S tier camo. It is so good. However, it's very difficult to find from what I hear. It's pretty new, but it's so good. It's really good. It is better, way more effective for most environments, in my opinion, than the original Fleck Tarn. Fleck Tarn we will put in A tier, I believe. A very good camouflage pattern, but not the best. It's just a little bit dark and has a lot of brown in it. The old Norwegian camo we're going to put in B tier, I suppose. It's a great camouflage pattern, but the only problem is the shapes are a little bit large. So it's very effective, however, you can do better. Which brings me to the new version. The new version is easily an S tier camo. Good brightness, good colors, good shapes, blah, blah, blah. One of the best. DPM. Now, DPM, you could do so much better than DPM, but it is also, you know, it's usable. I think it's a little too saturated and too contrasty and a little too dark. I'll put it in C tier. The old Soviet red dom pattern, I'm gonna put in E tier. Camouflage is great in the fall, but for the rest of the year, you really don't want to wear it, so we're gonna have to put it in E tier. T-block. T-block is going straight to F tier. It looks really cool, but you're not gonna want to wear this for like anything ever. So, except maybe your high school reunion, just to throw people off for a loop. Jigsaw. Jigsaw is going in F tier. It's not even the greatest fall camo, so I don't know what to say. Lat Pat, I think there's a couple of versions of Lat Pat. I don't even know what to say here. Some people say it works good. I guess I gotta put it in D tier just because the color palettes are better than, say, Camouflage. So yeah, I could put it in C tier maybe. We'll bump it up to C tier. Desert DPM, in my opinion, is a lot more usable than the original DPM, so let's put that up in B tier. Troppentarn is a really good desert camouflage pattern. However, it has a lot of contrast and sometimes a little bit too green and brown, so not the best, but I think I'll put it in A tier. M81, unfortunately, is not S tier in terms of performance. I'm gonna put it in B tier. The ERDL green is better, still not the best camouflage pattern though. So we love M81, however, it is a little outdated. US4 CES, or however you say it, I'm probably going to put in B tier. It's a decently effective camo, not the best, but I think B tier is a good spot for it. Everyone knows that UCP is an S tier camouflage. In fact, it's the best. No, I'm just kidding. If you dye it, it can be pretty effective, or usable. I'll say usable, but it is an F tier camouflage. It's just genuinely terrible. DCU. Now, DCU is not the best desert camouflage in my opinion. However, it is one of the best. So I'll put it in A tier. I think that Multicam Arid is better. I also think that Desert Marpat is really good. Honestly, I'm not sure whether to put Desert Marpat in A tier or S tier. That's pretty difficult. But because they're so similar to AOR 1, I'm gonna have to just split them and say that AOR 1 is slightly better. So you know, it could be an S tier desert camouflage. However, I'll bump it down to A tier just because I can't crowd A tier. Oh, slow cam. Slow cam is easily an S tier camouflage pattern, right up there. The Russian EMR, or whatever it's called, the Radnik. Let's put this, I don't know, let's put it in C tier. It's not the worst camouflage pattern in the world, but it is a little bit too bland and it's a little dark, so. Multicam Black. As far as like effectiveness and hiding you in the woods, it's an F tier camo. Obviously it's not what it's designed for, but it's just gotta go down there. Chocolate Chip, where do we put Chocolate Chip? I'll say C tier. It's usable, but it's certainly not the best desert camouflage pattern. Speaking of desert, we have Desert Tiger. Desert Tiger Stripe is awesome. I think it's gonna go in B tier. Regular Tiger Stripe, I'm really not sure where to put, but I think I'll put it in C tier with a kind of DPM. It kind of struggles for the same reasons, a lot of black. And sometimes, depending on the variant you get, the color of green can be a little weird, so not the best, but certainly usable. Okay, so Soviet Mountain Flora, let's put in E tier. Very good in the fall, but you're not gonna wanna wear it year round, so I have to put it in E tier. Rhodesian Brushstroke. Oh, our good old Rhodey B-stroke. Let's put that in, man, that's a difficult one. I guess I'm gonna put that in D tier. Maybe C tier, I don't know. I'll put it in D tier because at least for my area, I would not want to wear it. Okay, we'll put it in C tier. It's definitely usable, however, not the best. Greek lizard also we'll put in C tier. Definitely usable, but not the best in my opinion. Splitter tarn looks great, but not the most usable in a lot of environments. It's just very outdated, obviously. It's one of the first camouflage patterns ever created, so let's put this in, I don't know if I want to put it in F tier. Is that too harsh? Let's put it in F tier. ATEX FG is one of the best patterns ever created for especially transitional environments, and also my area, the Midwest. We'll put this in S tier, I think, because it's just so good. Now ATEX AU, I don't think I put on here, but ATEX AU, not the best desert camouflage pattern. It does okay. I think it's a little bit too brown, it's a little odd, but I guess maybe AU I'd put in B tier. I definitely want Desert Marpat over ATEX AU. Dutch NFP, oh man. Now this is a really good one. Okay, so there's 3 variations of Dutch NFP, I believe. This one that's right here is like the darkest, the woodland one. There's actually an intermediate version. So the darkest one I would put in A tier, but the intermediate one that's more of the multicam colors, I would put that in S tier. So we'll just drop it in S tier. Dutch NFP is amazing. However, it's very, very hard to find. CADPAT, oh CADPAT, CADPAT's gotta go in B tier. There's just better camouflage patterns. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Con Camo is really effective, however, it's effective in specific environments. I don't know how good it is at being transitional, so I think I'll put it in A tier. Okay, ABU has to go in F tier, obviously, for obvious reasons. Vegetado, I don't know, maybe D tier. I guess it's probably usable, but yikes. M84 is pretty decent. I think I'll put it up there with CADPAT. Not my favorite, but it'll do. All right, there's my rankings for the most effective military camouflage patterns. In S tier, I have Multicam, I have AOR1, AOR2. I have Norway's new one, which is M23 or NCU or whatever it's called. We have Multicam Arid, which is a great desert camouflage pattern. Slow Cam is amazing. ATAX FG is incredible. And Dutch NFP specifically, the transitional variant that's in the middle, amazing. So you cannot go wrong with any of these patterns. You will get lost, your friends will lose you, no one will ever find you, and pray to the creator that you do not fall while you're hiking, hit your head on a rock, because the rescuers will never find you. Okay, now we're gonna quickly rank them based purely on aesthetics, what looks cool, okay? So I have Heavenly, Gorgeous, Nice, Ugly, and Horrid. Let's first go with Vegetado. Oh, it's kind of ugly. It's ugly. Greek Lizard. Oh, it's ugly. It's not horrid, but it's ugly. Oh man, Rhodesian Brushstroke. Also, I'm gonna say ugly. Oh my, I'm gonna get so flamed in the comments, but I don't care. Okay. Tiger Stripe. Now, you know, I'm gonna put it in, how cool do you look with Tiger Stripe on? I'll put it in Nice. I don't think it's gorgeous, but I'll put it in Nice. Chocolate Chip, I'm gonna put in Ugly. It's not horrid, but it's ugly. Lat Pat, horrid. It's horrid. Cryptek, it's horrid. M90. Ooh, M90 is gorgeous. I think it looks really cool, really cool. Russian EMR, whatever the heck it's called. I don't know, I could say nice, I could say ugly. It's kind of in that in between for me. Well, we'll just get it nice. We'll give it a nice. Tricolor Desert. Tricolor Desert is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Multicam Black. Oh man, do I say heavenly? I gotta say heavenly. It's heavenly. DNC is definitely heavenly. UCP, obviously it's horrid. Splitter Tarn. Splitter Tarn, I'm gonna say gorgeous. It looks very cool. Russian KMR, KMK, whatever it's called. Give it a nice. It's a nice. Alpenflage, I'll give a nice. I do think it looks cool, and also the Mountain Flora will give a nice too. ABU, horrid, obviously it's horrid. M84 is pretty cool, I'll give it a nice. Now Desert Tiger Stripe is awesome, I'll put it in gorgeous. M81, I'll say heavenly, it's heavenly, it's heavenly. Con Camo is pretty ugly, honestly. It's effective, but it's ugly. Desert Marpat is okay. It's nice. It's not my favorite. Dutch NFP does look really cool. It's gorgeous. Now regular Fleck Tarn only gets a nice from me, but the new multi-tarn gets a gorgeous. Yeah, I'll give it a gorgeous. Slow Cam gets a nice from me. It's a little ugly, but it does, yeah, it'll get a nice. Trop Tarn gets a gorgeous from me. ERDL Green also gets a gorgeous from me. The new Norwegian variant, that gets a heavenly from me. That thing is good looking. Cat Pat, I really don't like Cat Pat. I'm gonna put it in ugly. French CCE looks like poop smears, so that gets a horrid from me. T-Block, I don't know. I'll put it in nice. I'm conflicted on if that looks cool or not. I feel like you kind of look like a dork if you wear that, but I'm not sure. I'll leave it in nice. Jigsaw, I think, is very ugly. I'll put it in horrid. Russian Flora is ugly, in my opinion. The Norwegian, the older variant, oh man, it looks really good. I don't know if I should put that in gorgeous or what. I gotta put it in, I'll put it in gorgeous just because I gotta put the other one up above it. It does look better. The newer one does look better. Atax FG looks really good in my opinion. I'll put that in gorgeous. Multicam Arid, yeah, it's okay. I think it looks cooler than normal multicam. But we'll put it in nice. Okay, now AOR2 definitely gets a heavenly from me. Definitely, that's just, it's a good looking pattern. AOR1, I'm not sure where to put that. If I have to pick my favorite desert camo, I'd probably put it up there. US4 CES, or however you say it, I kind of think it's a little ugly, honestly. DPM, definitely, it's gonna get a horrid for me. It's gonna get a horrid. Now, Marpat is a little bit of a difficult one for me. I'll give it Marpat's a gorgeous. I really do like Marpat. Regular multicam, oh, I'm so conflicted because as a uniform, I think it's ugly. I kind of like it on gear though. I'm not sure. We'll give it an ugly. Multicam Tropic is heavenly. It's beautiful. It's just the best color palette in the world. I've never seen something like it before. MO5, gorgeous, nice. We'll give it a nice. Not the coolest looking, but it's a good camo pattern. Desert DPM now, if you were looking to drip out, that's a heavenly pattern right there. That looks great. All right, lastly, we have Atax IX, the newer one. It looks okay. I'll give it a nice. It looks kind of funky, but it'll get a nice from me. All right, so there we go. Heavenly camo patterns. You can't go wrong with those. They're going to look great. Now, the funny thing about this is that some of the ones that I ranked the lowest for effectiveness, I ranked the highest for look. So that's kind of funny, but that's how the world works. And some of the ones I ranked for S tier of effectiveness, I also put in heavenly. So that's camouflage for you. So hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I had a lot of fun doing this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. Mainly just a chance for me to spurg out about camo because I spent way too many hours looking at photos of different camouflage patterns, and I probably spent too much money on camouflage patterns collection myself. So thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to go down in the comments and tell me where you highly disagree with my opinions. You can call me names and also tell me about the camo patterns that I might have missed or should have included in here. Thanks so much and have a good week.